Australia's human rights record is in the spotlight after 150 NGOs told the United Nations the country was sliding backwards. To find out more, let's bring in the Human Rights Law Centre's Caitlin Riker. Caitlin, good morning. Welcome to News Breakfast.
Good morning.
So first of all, what's involved in sending this report? How often does this sort of work happen?
This happens every 4 years. Every country around the world goes through this process, and it's a really important opportunity for Australia to show that we take human rights seriously at home as we expect elsewhere. And what that really means is that everyone in the country should be able to access their basic rights to housing, to education, to health, and to speak up and seek solutions when they need it.
But you're concerned, along with other non-government organisations, that our commitment to human rights in Australia is eroding.
Yeah, we talk a big talk internationally, but unfortunately the reality is, and the report has shown with all of the organisations that have contributed, that we are sliding backwards in a number of areas.
So what are some of those areas?
Yeah, the main things that have really come out as persistent themes. There is experiences of systematic racism being experienced by many people around the country, and that extends to the over-incarceration and over-policing of First Nations communities. We have 10 and 11-year-olds not growing up, going to school and in homes, but being charged as adults. We have huge concerns, as well as the domestic violence epidemic that we're still seeing around the country, which is really a problem of gender equality.
One of the solutions would be some sort of legislation to really embed our human rights commitments into law. What would that look like, and are you confident that governments would pay attention to it?
So, legislating a Federal Human Rights Act is the most immediate and obvious thing that the federal government could do to really take a huge step forward. This has been long overdue. It's been called for at many times. There's been various inquiries, public consultations, overwhelmingly in support of a Federal Human Rights Act. And what it would do is to basically codify these really shared values of equality, dignity and fairness, and put it into the heart of all public decision making. We have them already in 3 jurisdictions, but right now your human rights depends on where you happen to live in the country.
I wanted to ask about that. There are 3 jurisdictions. I'm pretty sure it's Victoria, Queensland, the ACT. When asylum seekers were a huge issue about 15 years ago, this was a massive topic of debate. Would we have one? Do governments listen to it, though, if you have one of these acts? Human rights legislation is basically a roadmap and a set of rules for how governments can then balance when rights need to be taken into account. And it reminds decision makers it has a preventive effect as much as anything else, so that in making decisions, decision makers have to think about the people who would be affected. And we have seen examples in Queensland, in the ACT, in Victoria, where that's been a really practical tool for people to use. People have been able to make human rights arguments to not just the highest level of government, but to local councils, to government departments, to not be evicted from your house because a former partner might have caused damage there, on human rights grounds. So these are the sorts of things that we should be able to rely on. Australia is one of the only countries that doesn't have human rights already in our law at the highest level.
So is our reputation on the world stage falling, do you believe?
It is sliding backwards. It's not just the report that's come out at the moment from here in the country. There's the Human Rights Measurement Index, which is an independent methodology that looks at records and shows that Australia is going backwards on a number of measures. And this is really a chance for Australia to walk the talk and show that its commitments to human rights, which are more important than ever, are meaningful here at home for everybody.
Just before we let you go, Parliament's back this week. Labor's got a huge majority. Do you sense any willingness to act in this space? Well,
we are very much hoping that this government will do the right thing and implement the recommendations that came out last year from the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Human Rights, which were the first recommendation was now is the time, just put it into law.
Caitlin, thanks for joining us on the couch.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.